Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be recapping The Bachelor. If you like my channel and if you like what I'm having to say, head on over and hit the subscribe button so that you can see more daily mom vlogs. But today it's going to be a Bachelorette recap because this episode had me on the edge of my seat, and this was where we finally got rid of all of the drama and we were just there for the romance. So let's get right into it because I'm excited. Okay, so the show starts off and we find out that they're in Switzerland. They keep going to all of these cold places. Like Rachel's yet to be in a bikini or in a bathing suit. The guys have yet to really had a chance to like show off their bodies and like been shirtless, except for like mud wrestling, I guess. But nevertheless, they are in Switzerland and Rachel walks into the hotel in this like white getup. I don't know what that outfit was, but I think it was Matt or Adam described her as an angel. I looked like maybe something with the church. She looked like she was gonna like go baptize someone or maybe be baptized herself. I don't know, but I hated it. Maybe it's like high fashion in Switzerland. Maybe it was something that looked better in person. But I was like, girl, what are you wearing? Like, she has such a good body, and I'm just like, I don't know what in the world that is. But she comes in and says there's not going to be a rose ceremony. In fact, there's going to be 3 one-on-one dates and 1 3-on-1 date. And as she sits down on the couch, she picks Bryan. So everybody's confused at this point. Why would you pick Bryan for a one-on-one if you have yet to have a one-on-one with Adam or Matt? And I was surprised to have to say. And I think it's funny how she's like, go get ready. And then Bryan just like magically comes out in this suit. Like, I don't think he knew he was going on the one-on-one, but I think that the producers tell them like anybody that's going on the one-on-one needs to have this attire ready. So I think that's funny. And I think it's funny too that like Rachel's just sitting on the couch like, oh, go get ready. And like he comes out like maybe like what 20 minutes later, that was a girl, and the guy was like, go get ready. She'd be like, you got an hour? Like, that's crazy to me that the guys just do that. She's obviously smitten by Bryan, like you can tell, and if anything, he's for sure going to the fantasy suites. Like, he's earned himself that, and it's like she's probably at this point just curious if he can back it up what he is putting down, because you know that she's going to be curious about him, and you know she's going to at least take him to the fantasy suites. I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to make it past the hometowns. If they make it look like he's not going to get past the hometowns, I think that it's strictly just for viewers to keep us on the edge of the seats, because I don't doubt that he's not going to the fantasy suites. Even if she like hates his family, she's still taking him there. So they're in a Bentley and they're going to a watch store. So they're dressed appropriately, because when they walk into this watch store, you can tell that it is an expensive watch store. He puts on a watch and she's like, is this your style? And of course he's gonna say yes. She doesn't know his style by now. She doesn't know. And he's like, black's my favorite color or something like that. But of course he's going to say yes. And it's so funny because she's like, do you like this? And I'm gonna buy this for you, is what she says afterwards. What in the tarnation? Like, what the heck? To buy somebody a watch, and if you haven't researched how much this watch costs, don't worry, I got you. It's $8,000. So if she bought 2 watches, like, that is insane. I don't think ABC would pay for those watches. I definitely think Rachel did actually pay for that. That says a lot in my opinion. Like, I am stunned that she's going to buy him a watch. Just saying, oh, she's going to buy him a watch, but an $8,000 watch, like, at this point, she might be thinking, like, I'm picking Bryan. I still don't think she picks Bryan, but at this point, I truly think she thinks she is. I don't know. This date was made for Bryan, and you know she wouldn't have bought Eric an $8,000 watch. It's definitely because it's Bryan. And I personally would have a hard time accepting the watch, and I think it's almost rude not to, but I would just be like, you can't buy me this. Like, please don't. That's just crazy to me. $8,000 for a watch. I mean, I know that there are watches that are $8,000, but to buy someone that you're not even sure if you're going to end up with, like, that is a big, big step. Back at the house, Peter is getting annoyed. He and Dean were talking, and he's basically saying, like Bryan's a front runner, and Dean actually hits the nail on my head. He hits the nail on the head when he says that I don't see them together at the end. He's a 37-year-old man. I had who lives in Miami and has spent the last 18 years swooning women. First of all, everybody by now knows that Bryan was on this show, a reality show about players. I don't know the show. I did not look up the show because I don't want to just I don't want to taint my reputation of him even worse. But he was apparently on this show about players. It's not hard to see that he's not a player. Whether or not he's true for Rachel, we won't know. But it's not hard to see that he's suave. All the other guys know that's the way he is. He has no flaws in front of Rachel at all. But I literally had to go back and rewind it when Dean said he was 37. I'm not saying that that's old to me. But 37 and still single and still not really having a lot of relationships or having almost marriage or anything like that. And still acting the way he's acting, like you know, he has the world wrapped around his finger. I can't believe he's 37. He does not look 37. I'll give him that because he has those cheek implants. Rachel is so attracted to Bryan's confidence. I don't know why she's so attracted to his confidence. Like, why so much Bryan? I mean, other men have confidence. I felt like Alex had confidence. I felt like Will had confidence. But it's Bryan. Bryan stood out to her from day one. And if she does pick him, it's going to be clear why. But I still don't think she picks him, guys. So back at the house, we have a date card, and it comes in, and everybody's really nervous, and we find out that it's a one-on-one with Dean. And it's so funny because Dean's first reaction is he looks at Adam and Matt, and he says, "Don't punch me in the face." Adam is clearly frustrated. He's getting frustrated, and I think rightfully so. Towards the end of the episode, Adam gets a little too cocky, in my opinion, and I don't know where he's actually thinking he stood a chance. But I could understand Matt and Adam's frustration because they've just been strung along and they're like, why am I here? Like, and you can only do so much. You know, people are like, oh, Adam and Matt, like, why are they there? Well, it's not their fault that they didn't get a one-on-one. You know, they're trying to make the best out of their time there, and why not go along to Switzerland? You know, just get more TV time to maybe get picked up for Bachelor in Paradise, if that even becomes a thing again. Rachel and Bryan are back, and they're in the hotel where they're going to eat, and it's a beautiful hotel, and they start talking about their family. We find out that Rachel went to a public school or a private school, which kind of explains a lot. I don't think she, like, necessarily had the easiest life. No one's life is completely easy, but I definitely think she hasn't experienced the trials and tribulations like we find out later that Eric has, and I think that's going to be foreign territory for her. Bryan wanted an earring when he was younger, so that forced him into a private school with all boys. He talks about his past relationship, and this is where I am going to tell you guys why I don't like Bryan, like I've been saying. He doesn't actually answer questions. Honestly, he answers them very vaguely, unclear, with a broad answer. And anybody can do that. And people that do that are people that are liars, or cheats, and are trying to put on a facade. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. I truly believe that Bryan has a core, and maybe it's a defense mechanism, maybe it's just because he is surface level. But when he talks about this relationship that was so speedy, fast, and passionate, much like him and Rachel, I kind of get the point that all of his relationships are passionate and speedy and then stop quickly, just as quickly as they started. And when he invited her to the Columbia wedding, I think maybe he was into her, and he said that there was an issue that her and his mother could not compromise on. Listen, Linda. That is something that I need to know more details about. You can't just tell me, and maybe they did talk about it off camera, but you can't tell me that, oh, my ex-girlfriend had a problem with my mom, so she dumped me. Well, if it was a big enough problem for a woman that was so passionately in love with you to dump you because of your mom, is this bitch psycho? Also, what was this compromise? Because if it was like a religious thing, if it was like she wanted him to come over every night for supper and she got mad about that, if it was her mother like threatened her like behind like the limo at this wedding, you know, and nobody else knows about it. I mean, that is a red flag to me. Tell me more. Like, why are you grazing over this like it's no big deal? That is something that Peter would have been upfront and honest about, which I'll get into Peter's speech later because he disappointed me this episode. But that is fishy to me, and I don't like that. Rachel says in the interview that the more she comes around Bryan, the harder she falls for him. She is not shy about letting everybody know her feelings for Bryan. She gives him the rose, and when I watch most of the scenes of like the rose, the one-on-one dates and the kissing and stuff, I usually have like a big grin on my face because I love love. But for Bryan and Rachel, I'm literally like half smiling. Like, it's cute, but it's not what I want. It's not what I want to see. That's not, it's chemistry, but it's fantasy sweet chemistry to me. Okay, so now it's time for Dean's one-on-one, and Dean is looking good. Oh my gosh, did you guys see his ass in those pants? Like, his butt looks so good. He looks so good. I think Dean is so hot, and I don't know why I wasn't more focused on Dean before. Probably because he didn't get a lot of airtime with as far as dates. Like, Bryan and Peter have kind of been in the, you know, in the camera a lot, even when they're not on their one-on-ones. But I look at Dean and Rachel, and I think they look cute together. I don't think that he's the one for her, but at this point, I am seriously considering Dean for my Bachelor pick. I don't know who they're going to pick out of these guys for a Bachelor, because I don't think this season has brought a lot of attention to a certain person, except for maybe Peter. But I think that she's going to pick Peter, so I don't think Peter is going to be there. And I also don't think that Peter would be a good Bachelor. I think he is too robotic. I really do. I don't think he's animated enough. Dean is someone that I could watch. Like, even though he's a little bit immature, I think he would get his act together. And I think they're just focusing on the immaturity factor right now because of the age difference. But I think he is my Bachelor pick, and I really, really, really like Dean. Other than Peter, Dean is my second favorite person on the show, for sure. I feel bad for Dean. So Peter gets a dog sledding date, and Bryan gets a watch, an $8,000 watch. And then there's Dean that goes to church with her. I go to church. I'm not saying church is a bad place to go. I'm saying that if you're going to take me to church, take me to somewhere that I feel God. I feel the presence. Literally take me to church. Don't take me to a church that I don't know what they're saying, and I'm just standing there awkwardly in silence, bubbling over what I'm going to tell Rachel about my family. I mean, that was torture for Dean, I'm sure. They stood in the back and they were hugging, but they did not know what was going on. I just feel like that was a lame date. I get what it was supposed to be, but I didn't think it was delivered well enough. That's why I think the footage was pretty short. I don't think they got a lot of good content out of that. They're dancing in the streets, which is so cute, and Dean is talking about his internal conflict, as he said, his words, which Dean has a good vocabulary. I don't think he's stupid. You can tell he's in his head about his family. And I feel bad for him, and I'm like, what could be that bad? Like, what is so bad about your family? And then we see the previews, and you see his dad, and he is wearing a turban on a magic carpet like Aladdin. No judgment, because you'll see why in a minute. But what I say about that, okay, now I understand. When you say your dad is eccentric, Dean, you're not joking. So she says she wants to get to know Dean on a deeper level, and she's basically like, okay, go. You have the floor. Which, why would she do that to him when they're in the middle of this, like, little bistro coffee shop table? You know that they save these talks for the cocktail night, for the nighttime date. I don't know why she's expecting him to open up so much. And she's like, go. And I feel like the producers are like, no, you saved this for this. I don't know. Like, I think that was weird that she put that on him. Some of it seemed staged to me, but it was funny how he was like, well, what's your favorite dinosaur? It really was so funny because I feel like Dean was nervous. I feel like that was true nervousness. The date card comes back, and the one-on-one is Peter, and Eric says, if Dean comes back, then that means that y'all are the top 3. And he was so right when he said that, because he knew Bryan got a rose, and he knew, it's funny, because he knew Peter was getting a rose. The only question was, is Dean going to? And if they do, then he knew that, okay, there's no chance that Peter's not getting the rose, so now it's down to me, Matt, and Adam. He was like, realization that, like, listen, there's no way that she's not giving roses out to these guys. And he kind of realized, like, you 3 are the top 3. He knows that, and he knows he's, like, the 4th pick right now. Dean finally opens up about his family at dinner. That's what I wanted to see, and that's what Rachel wanted to see. And listen, I feel like this is real life issues. I feel like not everybody's family lives in a big house. Not everybody's family is perfect and picture perfect, and not everybody's dad is a preacher, and everybody's mom is a stay-at-home mom that bakes cookies. And coming from a family that has had hard times, and honestly, if I would go on a show like this, I would be in the same boat. I would not want to come back to meet my family because it would not compare up to these perfect families that these guys have. Yes, they have like these little dramas and the mom might drink too much wine, or the dad might be a little too hard on the questions, or the sister might be overbearing. But bottom line, Dean is the real life. Dean is like, listen, my family is not this, and you're going to be shocked. And once we saw the previews, then I understood what he meant shocked. I thought he meant like his dad just maybe lives in the middle of the mountains and kind of disconnected. Thought maybe he meant like his dad got into drugs and is like, doesn't have a job. But yes, his dad is eccentric from the previews, and I understand Dean, and I like Dean more for that because he looks like he would have the perfect life. He looks like this like frat boy that, you know, played college football and never had a problem in his life, and he's not. And I like that he's put together. I like that he's made something of himself, and I like that he is still respectful, and that makes me love Dean more. Dean gets the rose, rightfully so, and I am excited for him, and I'm happy for him, and I really truly hope he's the next Bachelor, guys. I'm really won over by Dean at this point. So Peter's one-on-one. She's standing in front of a helicopter, and they're going to see the Swiss Alps, and he's never been in a helicopter before, or else this is his first time in the helicopter at the Bachelorette time. When she's describing Peter, she says she's been missing him, and she's been longing for him, and to me that's like the one. Like she says, like, I've been missing Peter. Peter is the one, and I'm just wanting to be this so bad. I want it to be him. They're freezing, and they're deciding to talk deep in the middle of the snow, and it's funny because Peter does open up really easily to her. He's still robotic, but he does, and he admits that there's times that he wanted to leave. That scared her a little bit, and I think that's good. I think Peter needed to say that because I think he needed to give her like a little something to like come back for. I think Peter is somebody that he can't be the suave guy like Bryan can, but he could be like, listen, my honesty is here, and this is how I feel, and take it or leave it. I'll give you the world, but you gotta work for it. And I think that's good because, like I say on the show, people bow down to the Bachelorette, and it's their relationship too. It's the contestants' relationship too, and I think that was very honest of Peter and very good for Peter to say. Now time for Peter's one-on-one and the nighttime date, and they look so good together. Peter is hot. Like, Dean and Peter do it for me. And Peter's hair and that snow, so good. He's just so freaking hot. He talks about leaving this girl, and he starts to cry. He says that the whole preview about I left her in tears and I feel responsible for that was because of this woman. Listen. Oh my God, guys. I thought he was going to say, I left her in the rearview mirror and she was crying and that's the last time I seen her, and then she died. And then she got hit by a freaking car on the road as I was driving away. That story was so dramatic for such a bland ending. And I'm like, why are you crying over this girl, Peter? I think that Peter was like way too emotional about that. I didn't get it. I don't get Peter in that aspect. He goes to therapy, so like he said before, so he must be very in touch with his emotions. But everybody has had a breakup that's ended like that. I feel like every person that's been in relationships where they didn't want to break up, but they felt like they needed to, and it wasn't on bad terms, and like you saw, the last thing he saw was her crying. I'm sure he could have stalked her on social media and like been like, hey, I just wanted to clear some things up. I mean, he acted like it was the last and only time he could have ever talked to her. I literally thought he was going to say she died, but he didn't, and I was so confused. That was something that I was like, Peter, what? But him saying that he wasn't going to get down on the end and get down on one knee was something that Rachel got scared about, but I think she respected. Her whole motto is keeping it real, keeping it 100, no bullshit. Peter just did that exact thing for her. And would you want him to say he is going to get down on one knee even if he wasn't feeling it? I mean, that is kind of a given. I think Bryan would get down on one knee even if he wasn't feeling it, because I think Bryan thinks, oh, it's just an engagement, I can break it off at any time. Peter obviously takes this very serious, which I think is important. He's not feeding her a spoonful of sugar to get ahead. He is telling her what he thinks, and if he take it or leave it. That's how Peter's aspect is. I still think Peter's a little boring for her, but I think he could, once he's in a more comfortable setting, I think they could make it. Peter accepts the rose, and they're going to see his family. I'm watching Adam in these interviews, and he looks like John Travolta, and I had a huge crush on John Travolta when he was in Grease when I was little, and now I'm like oddly attracted to Adam, but then like there's moments where I look at Adam, I'm like, you're not cute, but if I think of you as John Travolta, you're cute. Am I making sense? Time for the group date. It's Adam, Matt, and Eric, And it's obviously going to be Eric at the end, is what I was thinking. Then in the middle of this date, I was like, oh my lord, she might pick Adam. Adam pours his heart out to her. He got very cocky at the end, and he really thought that he was like a contender. He was like, oh, of course she's going home with me. Eric had a one-on-one. Eric has depth to him, and Eric talked about his emotions. They must have had some kind of conversations, because she did say he makes the most of her time with her. But I'm getting ahead of myself, because before she sends home Adam, she sends home Matt. And during that talk, she was like really sobbing. Like, she was covering her face, she was shaking. I felt for her in that situation, because I really do think she felt bad for Matt. Matt is a good guy, I think. I think if Matt would have gotten a little more time, and if he would have been a little more attractive, I think he would have stood out, and I think they could have gone far, because I think he was a good guy. Just from that conversation that they had, I saw it in Matt. And if Matt got a little bit more TV time, maybe I would have liked him for The Bachelor. I mean, I think we missed out on a good guy with Matt. He was the penguin suit guy. He won my heart over. I think he was really cute at the end, very respectful, and I do feel bad for Matt, because I think they could have been something, and I think Rachel thinks so too, but Rachel's kind of like, listen, like, it just didn't happen for us, but it could have, which is a compliment, but probably hurts a little bit. So now it's time for Adam and Eric's 2-on-1, and Adam pours his heart out. Adam gives her his all, and I think Adam can walk away from that knowing that he did his best. I think Adam can say, like, I laid it all out there, I have no regrets. Good for Adam. Wasn't enough, I guess, but I think she really did contemplate in the end. And before she gave the rose to Eric, I was actually thinking maybe it's gonna go to Adam. I didn't know if Eric turned her off with the I've never brought a woman home before comment. It's a little scary, but in my opinion, if you just have not met the right one yet, you can't fault a guy for that. A lot of people have. A lot of people have been giving him a lot of flack on YouTube and things like that, but if you just have not met the one, or you don't have the opportunity to meet good women, I don't know, but it didn't really scare me. Eric talks about his rough upbringing in Baltimore. I live in Pennsylvania. I live semi-close to Baltimore, because Baltimore's in Maryland. So I've been to Baltimore. There are nice parts of Baltimore. There's tourist parts of Baltimore, but there are rough parts of Baltimore. And he was not joking. I'm sure that he did live in inner city, and I'm sure that he did have uncles and one dad, and men in his life that did sell drugs. I think that would be a turnoff to Rachel, because she's not used to that. I think that Rachel sent home, what's his face, because he was a bad kid when he was younger. I don't know if that's going to affect her decision, but I think Eric was being real. I think you can tell the way that Eric is. I think you can tell he had a little bit of an odd upbringing compared to the rest of the guys. I think that's a little bit of why he felt a little bit indifferent to everybody. I feel like he thinks he's like the black sheep. I feel like he thinks he has no chance, and he's just trying to put his heart out there on the line. And Eric is really, I have a soft spot for Eric, and I really think Eric is a good guy and would be a good husband. When he talks to her, he uplifts her. He gives her support, not to get farther ahead. Like, I see genuinity in Dean, Eric, and Peter that I don't see in Bryan. And I just see Eric lifting her up and telling her, like, you're so strong and you have to do this, and it's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. Like, I feel like he would be a teammate. I need someone like that in a relationship. Why is it about me? Maybe I need Eric. No, I have a husband. I'm just kidding. But Eric definitely is someone that I would want to have by my side if I was going to go through life. And I really, really, really have a soft spot for Eric. So I know a lot of people hate on Eric and say that he has mama issues and that he is not right for her and all of that, but I truly, truly like Eric. Okay, so she sits down at the table. I really thought she was going to give it to Adam for a second, and then I thought, oh my god, she's going to give it to no one, but she gives the rose to Eric. Adam is like, what just happened? He seriously was shocked. The exit interview was a little hard to watch. He didn't go crazy or anything. I thought he was going to be the one that would, like, go off his rocker. So she wipes away her tears and tells Eric that it is her pleasure to go home and meet his family. That kind of wraps up the episode. I thought it was a really good episode. We got down to business, we got the hard conversations out of the way, and we learned more about the guys. I saw Dean in a new light, I saw Eric in a new light, and I saw Peter in a new light, maybe a little bit of a light, because I did not like that story about that girlfriend. I'm giving Peter a hard time now. Bryan is still the same to me. So one thing I wanted to point out too is if they're going to hone in on this thing about Peter not sure if he's going to get down on one knee at the end, and if they're going to like say like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get down this whole time, and then at the end that's like what their conflict is, we know she's engaged. She's come out to say that she's engaged, so no one needs to think that Peter's not going to get down on one knee because we know she's engaged. So if they edit it like that, no one's going to be like surprised, because if she picks him, we know that he does get down on one knee. So that is a little bit that might lean me towards the fact that she does pick Bryan. I'm still going to say that my top two are Peter and Bryan. I think that obviously Eric or Dean will go home next, but I think it might be Eric that goes home next, but it could throw me off and she could send home Dean first. I would feel bad if we talked about this, how like the producers tell you who to send home, and if the producers like said like keep this guy, if they're like the same to you, keep this guy because he's the drama. If Eric and Dean are the same to her and like she knows she's not going to pick either one, in my heart, please keep Dean, because if you send Dean home right after that family time, he's going to think it was the family that did it. And if it's honestly just either one, you cannot send Dean home and say it wasn't your dad. After seeing that preview, he's going to think it was his family. I just feel like if you don't want either one of them, please just keep Dean for one more week so that he can have that confidence and courage in himself to know that his family did not ruin it for him. That's just like me thinking ahead and me being, because I would think about that. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment and let me know. I mean, I'm being really hard on Bryan. Let me know if you guys like Bryan. Let me know if I'm being hard on Peter now. I mean, you guys know I'm not somebody that just like is swooned over all of these guys except for Dean and Eric right now, because I'm swooning over them. But Peter is still my front runner. I really want Dean or Eric would be really good bachelors in my opinion. Kenny, I don't know. I was so team Kenny, but I don't know. I really hope that they do a good bachelor this next season, because I think Eric would be a little more drama than Dean. I don't know. Tell me what you guys would think for your bachelor picks. As always, thanks for watching. If you're not annoyed with my voice and you want to see more of me, head on over to my channel. I do daily mom vlogs, daily-ish, I should say. I'm a mom, so nothing is ever set in stone. Anyways, have a good day, morning, or night. Bye.